Hello and welcome to podcast episode 10 of Discussions of Your Last Three Brain Cells. It is the 21st day of 2021. We're here
Ooh.
hanging out. Max left us because he's a big old nerd. He'll be back next week. But Marcus is here. He's very talkative this evening, talking about how cold it is.
Yeah, very, very cold down here. Not as cold as Alaska, but I'm just sitting here in my basement, cold in Wisconsin. So yeah.
Hanging out.
Sorry, I'm better intro. It's the 21st hour of the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century.
Oh. He's got better feedback that it's the 21st hour of the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century. So thanks to the roommate for that one. That was a astute
Wow.
observation.
That was a good one.
We're also going to do a quick historical thing, and this will lead into our first thing. So this is the sound of the first beer since the beginning of the Spartan Challenge, because that ended last night.
Ooh. He's clearly enjoying it. You can't tell right now, but he's just got a big old smile on his face as he's drinking this beer.
It's a delicious sour ale from Oso Brewery, and I think it's Plover. But yeah,
Yeah.
that challenge was a hoot. I have on the way out of that challenge, I realized that you could just live like that the rest of your life and just be a really happy person.
Yeah. Oh,
Like I was purging a lot of like bad things from my life, and I felt a lot better every single day.
So to the audience, because I also don't really remember, what did you like? What did you all get rid of, and like, what did you do differently? I know you did a bunch of exercises every day. I know you cut out
Right.
like artificial stuff like that. So like not so much like beer being artificial. I would call it artificial, but just like non, watery substances. Like what did it entail? I should say.
I will pull up the exact printout that I followed.
Okay.
So it was no social media of any kind for any reason, only text and email. I added Snapchat messaging because we're young, hip kids, and like a lot of people communicate only through Snapchat, so it was kind of a utility thing. No music or modern entertainment. I had to journal every morning and evening, which I really took to. That's something I want to keep doing. No shopping at chain stores. Must shop at the most local store possible of any kind. No flavored drinks of any kind. I had on there whiskey, beer, milk, or water. I ended up just doing water the whole time. I was like, if we're going to do it this much, we might as well do no
Ah.
alcohol. Did only water for 10 days with no ice. The coldest it could be would be just chilled out of the fridge. No processed foods of any kind. Kept it to basically meat and veg. Whole time, couple potatoes here and there, a lot of eggs. And then it was only seasoned with salt, onions, garlic, and butter. We were pretty good on that one. And then it was a minimum of 200 push-ups, sit-ups, or an equivalent, rows, and then squats or kettlebell swings. And then my younger sister added a very good one, which was declutter one aspect of your life every day. So I went through and I like cleaned, organized something every day.
That's a
And
good one.
yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Like it was great. I read a ton. I ended up finishing Lord of the Flies. I was about halfway, and then I finished The Naked Ape by Desmond Morris.
Okay. All right. So that
So
sounds pretty productive.
yeah, it was awesome. I was just like a better person all the time. I had better energy. I was a like kinder. I slept better. It was better. And like one day off, like today, I had like an okay lunch, and I was like, oh, it's like off the challenge. I had like the equivalent of like a Reese's cup or two, and I felt like garbage the entire day,
That's not too
which really
surprising.
surprised me.
Yeah. I mean, like to me, I guess that's not that surprising, just because, like you said, you were 10 days without it, and like it's kind of funny how fast your body reacts to changes like that. So
But you'd think one day You think I could buy one day of feeling good off of 10 days of feeling good? You think it would carry for one day? But it didn't.
Okay.
I was surprised. We're going to get back on the horse tomorrow and work out again in the morning.
So, okay,
Very
so
excited.
what part was the most difficult part for you, I would say? I think people would probably ask that question too.
It was hard to stay on social media or stay off social media because I found myself I would go on my phone looking for something to do in between stuff. So
Yeah.
like if I was at work, like there's a lot of load times. I'm at the computer a lot, so it's do something, wait for it to load. It's super easy to pull your phone out and like look at a couple things while you're there. But when you don't have anything, I would find myself just swiping back and forth on my phone, just trying to fiddle for something, but I had nothing to fiddle on.
Okay.
So I'd like get my phone out, fiddle a little bit, and then go, oh, there's no reason for me to be on here. And then I'd put my phone away, and I would be more productive.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like to me, that's how I kind of view social media.
Yeah, but it was I get nothing out of social media. It made my life worse. So I just removed that. It was like I had my thumb habit of fiddling, but that was it.
Okay.
The processed food was tough.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine.
It was a lot of running to get fresh stuff all the time, and it's expensive. But like we got it figured out. I was eating a lot of ground beef and vegetables, and you can get frozen vegetables, and you can buy a lot of ground beef and freeze that. So
Yeah.
I
Where
don't
did
know.
you end up shopping, anyways?
I shop just at the local at Triggs there or at Metro Market, which is technically a Kroger, but it's it was as local as we could. So we
Yeah.
did a lot of shopping at Triggs there.
Okay.
But it's within reason because like a pound of asparagus at the Metro Market is like $1.50, but a pound of asparagus at Triggs is like $7. So it's kind of
Yeah. Triggs is really expensive. Or at least I feel like that. Like I didn't want to go to Walmart the
yeah.
other day, and because it was my day off, and I didn't have to go there, and I was just like paying like $1 or something more for some of this stuff. I'm just like, why? But whatever. So yeah,
Yeah. But I avoided Walmart like the plague. I ordered nothing online, but
that's a
it was
hard one.
nice. Like just kind of I really enjoyed it. I think if I'm gonna keep doing stuff, I think bringing ice back is something that I'll
Yeah.
do, and I think journaling and reading is something I'm gonna keep doing. I listened to music on the ride home today. That was pretty awesome. But I don't know. I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to social media.
Yeah, it's not like you're really missing out on too much. I know I like me and Keegan talked about this a little bit because like I was just getting like unnatural like unreasonably upset about people's like stupid political posts, and it's not even like super over the head stuff like Trump's a bastard or something like that. It's just like like small things would like insinuate other ideas, and I'm just like, no, 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 you got this all wrong. And then I'd sit there for like 20 minutes and brew about it, and it's just like, why? And then Keegan's just like, no, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. So like, I still
I
have like,
remember that day.
yeah, and like I still have social media, but like I don't go on it as much, and like I don't really like look at people's. Well, I mean, like I do. I like seeing what some of the people I follow, not so much like friends and stuff like that, but just like what athletes are up to. I guess like I follow like a lot of rugby organizations and like athletes, and I like seeing them like training and stuff like that. That's what I like. So like that part will probably be around for a while, but like that's what I like about social media is just like seeing people train and stuff like that.
Have
Do
you
things they like.
have you watched The Social Dilemma yet?
No, I have not. My roommates have. I'll probably watch it at some point. I'm just not like I get
You
like
should watch it.
yeah, I get the concept. I'm just not like gonna go balls deep into it, I guess. So I probably will at some
It's
point though.
it's it changed how I kind of like looked at it because Facebook always felt malicious to me, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it doesn't base it on stuff you like or dislike. It bases on what gets your attention.
Yeah.
So it's only stuff that you love and what you hate.
Yeah.
So whatever rut you find
That's-
yourself going in, it just keeps you going in that direction.
Facebook very much is like that. I know like Instagram can kind of be like that too because I have friends who would like tell me something and I'd be like, "Oh, I know exactly where you saw that from." Like
Yeah.
I think it was about like post January 6th where like they stormed like the state Capitol building and stuff like that and
The
like
capital.
yeah. And like I had a friend who was telling me all these things. I'm like, dude, I know exactly where you read that. That was on this page right here. I'm like, dude, no, there's more to it than that. So you can't
Propaganda.
yeah, I'm like, dude, you can't just like believe one source and like you have to take other things into consideration. So like that was kind of cool that I'm
Yeah.
like I'm not calling him out on that or anything because like he's that's his belief or whatever. But it's just like it's pretty easy, like once you like open up to the idea just a little bit. I'm getting enough background noise. But,
Right.
yeah,
Turn your gain down a little bit.
that's what I'm gonna do here.
Sorry for the background noise. I know we've got that feedback in the past. Marcus lives in a household that looks about 700 years old, so his floors are a little creaky.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind the look. It's like a classic old looking house. It could be worse.
Very true.
So yeah, but it's like what you would expect from like a bunch of dudes living together. That's all I can say.
That's true.
So yeah.
Oh. I don't want to talk about the topics we talked about, or we're going to talk about next week with Max. So, sorry, Joe. We're going to talk about that next week. Thanks for the great topics, though. We'll hit those.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, because I've really been introspective and kind of looking at my life, what's your kind of routine been like, Marcus? Like, if you're going to tell me what you do in a day, what's your day look like? What's your
Okay.
average day?
So yeah, my day kind of changes from day to day. Depends on like what shift I'm working at work. How detailed do we want to go into this? Like how personal?
I would get pretty into it. You could probably leave out the parts where you beat your meat, but
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Okay, so yeah, I don't know.
you
Like
could
I'll
just
wake up.
refer to it as personal time. I
Yeah,
don't
personal
know.
time. So yeah,
Don't make it weird.
there's always personal time throughout the day. Whatever. Like, might not to get too personal, but yeah, girlfriend's coming back from her fall. So yeah.
Play some video games, read some books.
Yeah, but so like I'll wake up and I try and go through like an idea or a plan of like what I have planned today. Usually it never works out. I can tell you that. And I get kind of pissed off sometimes when it doesn't, but it is what it is. So I'll wake up, depending on what shift I'm working. If it's like a 2 o'clock shift, I'll definitely go and lift. Been kind of lazy, and by kind of lazy, I've just been trying to find motivation to go there and do stuff. Like I still do it. It's just kind of half-assed, but like every now and then, over the last couple of weeks, I'll probably have like one or two good training days where I'm just like balls deep in it and I'm just feeling it, and the other days are just like I'm kind of there. So I'm just trying to work with that. I'll go to work. Work's usually I'll be there for like anywhere from like 9 or 11 hours. Deal with a bunch of stupid stuff, and I make it sound bad, but I mean like sometimes it is just really annoying. But there are like really fun like aspects of the day too. Like I work with like some pretty nice people, so there's always like moments where we're always like screwing around and stuff like that, and just kind of enjoying ourselves. There are moments where I just kind of like scratch my head and say, "That's the outcome. That's your thought process on that." I do a lot of stupid stuff too, but I don't know. And then I'll come home. If I'm gonna try and read, I try and like prepare myself for it because for me, I like reading. I just have to get like I have to really be in the mood for it. So like I'll just try and think about like what I want to get done, how much reading I want to try and get done. I'll try and get some music going. But a lot of times I get distracted or I push it off.
Do you listen to music while you read normally? Do you find success with that?
Yeah, to an extent. Like it's just like because like my roommates are doing their own thing and I don't want to hear like a conversation what they're having.
Oh.
Or something they're doing because I'll get distracted. So like I'll try and play some music. Usually if it's like a historical setting or something like that. Like if it's like a historical setting in like a novel or like a book I'm reading about, I'll try and play something from that time period ish. I mean, or like maybe
Oh,
like
that's kind of fun.
or maybe like a modern representation of it. So like if I'm reading, uh, what's a good one?
Like
So
some from the French Revolution, you'll listen to
yeah,
some
for my class.
classic French music.
Yeah, or just like classical music in general, which is like from like 1750 to like
Mm.
about the 1800s, something like that, just to like kind of set me in the mood. I had a hard time finding like specifically French music would go with that, I guess. I mean, like there's obviously French composers, but it's not quite the same. But yeah,
Right.
and then like I'll either dedicate some time to play some video games. So like I'm playing an Assassin's Creed game right now, and then if I'm not doing that, I'll watch something. Just kind of go to bed. I don't really do a whole lot exciting in the day. I don't
How
really.
many hours of video games do you think you play a week?
That's a good question. It depends.
Like how like if you're gonna play like a AAA game, like if you're playing like the new Assassin's Creed, like how long is it gonna take you to probably beat that game?
Oh, a while. I kind of gave up on that game for a while. Not that I didn't like it or something, but like I didn't play it for a while because I was like my girlfriend because she was gonna leave, and I was working more because this like right when I it was like still relatively like new when I got my new position, so like I was spending more time at work. So I just kind of like lost interest, I guess, and like I'll play it again at some point. But like I went back to a different one, and I found some more interesting things in that. It's usually more of the setting than like the storyline or characters with like the newer ones, unfortunately. But like I don't know, it's kind of like reading. Like if I don't constantly think about it, I don't really care, and I kind of like lose interest. It's not like I don't care about like the material. But yeah, um, it depends. This last week was probably more than what it usually is. I don't know. I probably had like 20 hours, which to me seems a
20
lot, man.
hours?
Yeah, I had one day. I had one of the days off where I spent like probably 8 hours, and that's all I did. And then everything else just kind of went to shit.
When you
Um,
play video games, do you sit down and play for like 2 hours at a go?
Usually it's about 3 or 4 if I'm gonna play because I don't want to play just for like 2 hours. But
So you
like,
played for like 8 hours and then you played like three and then like a 4 hour
yeah, and then
shift. Like you
like,
did that.
yeah, but like normally I don't play for like a whole day, but like I just did, and like I just did a bunch of side tasks. But like I don't really do like a whole lot of interesting stuff. I don't want to. I just like being by myself. Not that I don't like people. I just like being by myself, and I really value my own time to like do what I want. And like I don't know. I guess I wouldn't be a good roommate or a super fun roommate, but I just like doing my own thing with like exceptions.
Just laying low.
Sometimes I'll do something with a friend. Like I was with Joe twice last week just to watch like football. So, like, just
If
kind
you
of
were
hang out in
gonna
my room.
improve, if you were gonna improve your day to day, what would you do more of? What would you do less of?
What would I do less of? So I would definitely read more. I think that would be good. Like I was thinking, I, we were taught
Like, are you
we
talking like a book a week pace, a book every 2 weeks pace? Well, you read bigger books, so
um maybe like a book every other week or something like that. I think that would be good, but is that going to happen?
100 or so pages a week.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think that would be good though. Like me, like a couple days ago, we were talking about like philosophy and like critical, like
Hmm.
classical, by classical, I mean like 16th, 17th, like even like 18th
I
century.
did have those books come in, by the way.
Oh,
They came in
did you?
today.
Okay, awesome. Actually,
I haven't
correct that.
opened them yet. But they came in the mail today.
Okay, correct that. 17th and 18th century. But like philosophers such as like John Locke and well, there's a bunch of people who had helped influence the French Revolution, like Jean-Jacques Rousseau. We were talking about that, and like just that little conversation we had made me feel really good because it made me go back and think of things that I felt were like really important to me, what I haven't been able to do lately, or I should say, what I haven't done lately. It's not like I'm not able to do them. It's just like I'm in the wrong mindset, and it just made me think of like being in class again. I like class. I don't like the school at homework part, but like just sitting in class taking notes if I have like a good professor. Maybe think about that, and it made me just kind of like think what's important to me, like what do I value, and like how do my beliefs kind of align and stuff like that. And I thought that was really good, nice. So I think that would be a good direction for me. Um, I thought of
On a
before.
side note,
Yeah.
Marcus, try and talk into your microphone a little more,
Okay.
because like you're really comfortable,
Yeah.
but I just want to make sure that you're getting heard because you're doing really great talking about stuff.
Okay.
So you're just talking about how you're kind of looking at yourself, and we were talking about reading that philosophy
Yeah. So
and
like
what you want to do more of, what you want to do less of.
yeah. So like yeah, I'm kind of going on a rant here. Wow. But yeah,
Do
just
it.
kind of like getting into that, just reading more, and like I was gonna try and cut out video games, I guess, but like I'm not gonna totally cut them out right now, I would say, or like completely remove them because like I think um, I don't really play like most of the Assassin's Creed games anymore for like the story outside of like the Ezio trilogy, but like I see them as like a passage into historical time, places, and periods, which is what they're kind of going for now, anyways. It's like a passage to experience what it was kind of like. Obviously, the events and stuff like that would happen in the game aren't exactly what happened, and they're kind of an exaggeration. But like just to get the feel, and I think that's something worthwhile. So I can kind of justify it. But I would just say do more reading, being more appreciative, and like realizing what's important to you. So like I talked to my girlfriend, I was just like saying, hey, thank you for putting up with me, and thank you for allowing me to like open up with you and talk to you about this. Like I just kind of had like a little moment with her over the phone, and it felt really good. So I don't know, just
Nice. Very
ignore
cute.
some of the more modern distractions, I guess. Kind of like what you were saying, but like maybe not quite to that extent, and read more. So
So here's a question for you. And so when I was making this purge thing, I was kind of thinking, what are things that I do a lot of?
okay,
Like I made this purge not for somebody else to be like, oh, that's a perfect challenge thing, but I looked at it and was like, what's the purge that I could make that would suck for me? So I went through and I'm like, I'm on a lot of social media. I don't want to be on social media, but I'm on it a lot. I don't want to do that. I listen to music constantly. I want to break that. I do a lot of shopping at Walmart. I want to break that. I drink a lot of different stuff. I want to break that and just get back to water. So a lot of this wasn't necessarily that this is a hard thing. It's that these are things I know will be a challenge for me to do. So if you're going to do a 10-day challenge, how would you kind of do it? What would you do differently than I did? How would you
um,
manage stuff?
okay. So I know one thing is I probably consume more caffeine than you do. So I would have to justify something. I wouldn't say like an energy drink. So I would say cut that out. But like maybe if I could drink like some sort of coffee or tea, and then I would put that with water.
Like keep it to like 1 cup of coffee a day or something?
Yeah, maybe okay, maybe two, maybe two. If it's like on a day I go lift, definitely two. But yeah, um, I don't drink a whole lot. It's not like I don't like drinking, but like I don't drink a whole lot, so that would be a problem. I think dealing with like soda and stuff like that would be a hard time. I mean, but like I've gone on like little anti binges where I don't drink soda for a little bit, and then like once you get a couple days into it, it's not so bad, and then just the habit of like sliding back into it.
I know there's
Um,
a couple alternatives drink wise that are like white or green tea that have caffeine that are a lot lighter than even coffee.
uh,
So that might be something that if you wanted to do a purge, you could get some of that green
okay,
or white tea, and then that could act as like a kind of a substitute. You could do like tea and water.
okay. So another thing I would say would be like social media and stuff like that. I think that would go for most people actually, just like the amount of time
Mm-hmm.
you spend sitting there on social media. I think reflections would be a good one. I've talked about that to my tattoo artist and how he wants to do that again because he thinks it's very important to understand what you're truly thinking about and what's going on in your life. And like, yeah, you can think about it, but like a thought isn't really like a thought. Um, non sexual way, anyways. Unless you like write it down and spend time thinking about it and writing it, and editing it so
That's
other
fair.
people can read it and interpret it. So I think that's a good idea. I think what you did, a lot of what you did would apply to me. Not shopping at Walmart would be a problem because I work there. Um, I would say I would probably add something with like cardio, or maybe in addition to like the rows, push-ups, and stuff like that, I would add like maybe a high intensity interval training thing to like a short thing just to get my heart rate up.
Something.
Just
Right.
yeah, like I've been
Do
kind
some
of
sprints
neglecting.
or something.
Yeah, I've been kind of neglecting that. I feel like lately. Actually, I know. Okay. So yeah, it'd probably be very much like yours, but with like a few twists. So yeah,
Really focus on that caffeine.
yeah, I think that would be a good one. So yeah.
Because you are a caffeine fiend.
I'm not as bad as a couple people I know, but it's still pretty bad. So.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. When you start thinking about it through that way, like, if I was going to make a 10-day challenge to make myself a better person, like, what would I do that would suck?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not even like I think it would be a good a good way to look at it is like a challenge, like you said. But like for me, like if I almost had like some time off of work, if I could, like I'd like to go back and like think of what like people at different time periods would do, and think of like what their living habits would do.
Oh, and
Something
do,
like
like, could I survive as, like, a serf?
yeah, okay, I would make an exception, and that's showers. Like that would be my
Yeah.
biggest thing, just so I can feel like somewhat not like a total scrub, but like just like doing
No, you
things like
have to roll around in the dirt every day for 10 minutes. Not allowed to get clean.
I don't know,
One
just
set of clothes the whole time.
one set of clothes. Yeah. I think it would be interesting. I'm not saying like it would be an extended period of time, but just like a couple days just to get the feel of it. And that's all you really need.
Hmm.
Because like we do have a lot of that came out wrong. We do have like pretty easy. I feel like, and
We've really
like
separated ourselves from a lot.
yeah. And if we just like
What time?
reflected,
Oh, yeah.
oh, I was just gonna say like
You go.
if we just like reflect on it a little bit, like we really do have it made. And like our struggles, what we have now. I mean, yes, there's struggles, and obviously nothing. Most things what we go through probably will not compare to like what people had to go through like 100 years ago. So obviously, if you've never experienced true suffering or something like that, you're gonna react differently to like something not going your way compared to like someone who's experienced a bunch of grief and stuff like that. You know, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But like we truly have it easy, and I think it would be a great experience to go through some of this stuff. So
I would argue that our suffering has changed. I think it's still hard to just be alive.
yeah,
I think social pressures are a lot more. I think we lost the camaraderie of all being in a terrible situation. But I don't know. I think it would be interesting, like if you could live and eat like a French peasant from 1750. Like, what would that look like for a
yeah,
week?
a lot of bread if you could even get the bread. But yeah, I think that would be
Yeah.
interesting. And like I think you said, I think you put it in a great way. You know, like we still have um, pressure, anxiety, and like shit going on in our lives. It's just different, and we view it differently too.
Mm.
I don't know. Like I've always, as long as I can remember, so probably at least until middle school, like I've always thought life could be worse. Not necessarily on like a grand level, but like, hey, life could be worse. Or if you're stressed out, someone else could be stressed out. And I always thought of like combat for some reason because I always liked military history as a child. So I would always relate to like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, this test is nothing compared to being shot at and having to deal with, you know, life or death situations. So like, obviously that's a little extreme, but that's how I just kind of thought about things. So, so
That's definitely a thing, though. Is like there's I've been running into the saying like, oh, you're hungry. You ate 4 hours ago. People can go 30 days without eating. Like, oh, and that kind of puts it into into perspective, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be fine.
yeah,
This is okay. It's interesting to think about it that way too.
yeah.
I did write a poem as the last thing of the the challenge.
Oh, okay.
And the girlfriend thought it was good, but the girlfriend thinks everything I do is good.
Well,
So,
probably because you're an
Would
amazing
you
person.
like to hear it?
But yeah, let's hear it.
It's really dramatic.
Okay.
It's so like the motivation ones, or it's like motivation videos.
Yeah.
So I was listening to a lot of that stuff while I was working out, and then I sat down and I wrote this one. So it's pretty dramatic.
Okay.
Okay, so here it goes. This is the first time it's been read aloud. Okay. There is joy in struggle, purpose hidden in adversity, flexibility in the absolute. Without challenge and terror, there's no jubilation or calm. It is easy to add complexity, but we will always remain humble creatures. Simple creatures that can do anything. We are completely and totally able, but we remain in prisons of our own creation. You must escape that terrible place and become what you can be, for the world depends on it, and more importantly, you do. I thought that was kind of fun. I wrote that, I think, last night.
Okay. Just kind of made some time for it and kind of wrote down. Okay, cool.
But I did that instead of my journaling.
Okay.
I was kind of sitting here and I was like, oh, might as well. It's something. It's like a writing prompt, just like anything else.
Yeah.
I'm sure my English teacher father's just freaking out. He loves writing poetry. Big old fucking nerd.
I'm trying. Yeah, I can see that. I can see him like hunched over, just like going on, just padding the paper. Just
But
going
he's
crazy.
very good at it. He writes beautiful poetry. It's just funny because he's just 5'6" uber strong man, lifting forever, swole, jacked dude. And he's just writing really nice poetry. He's written a lot of really awesome poetry throughout our lives, so
Nice.
it's kind of fun. We're at half an hour already, Marcus. We're hauling ass. This is going really
I
fast.
wouldn't have guessed it.
Yeah.
So what else do we have?
Do you think
go on. Let's hear it.
if you were gonna do college again, would you do the same degree?
Yes, I might have like a different minor, but I would definitely do the same thing. 100%.
So, what is your degree, and then what would you say are like the pros and cons of your degree and the way you got it?
Okay.
Like your exact degree, like the courses you took, everything.
Oh.
Well, not
okay.
every course, but
But-
like if you took a minor, like what would your focus kind of thing?
Okay. So.
And pros and cons.
Pros and cons. Okay. So my degree has kind of changed a couple times. I'll start where like I initially started after high school. We kind of go from there. So I originally was going to go into.
It's usually where college starts, to be fair.
Yeah, usually. So I started off at a technical school at my hometown. I was going to do criminal justice because I thought that, like, I decided I was going to go do the military because I didn't want to, like, lose all my gains, as a meathead would say. That was something that kind of concerned me. I didn't really think about that until,
You were
like,
powerlifting pretty good there, weren't you? Like bodybuilding.
Maybe a little bit, I guess. I don't know. But, like, yeah, that was my thing. Like, once I got it, like, once I became a junior in high school, I started to get quite a bit bigger. I'm like, ooh, like, I know a lot of people lose, like, a lot of weight during, like the Marine Corps basic training or whatever, and that kind of, like, pushed me out of it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go into, like, law enforcement. And then I went there for a year, didn't do very well. When I transferred to Point, I had a 2.3 GPA, so not good. Because I kind of dicked around. Still did, even like when I got older. But like, yeah, I kind of dicked around, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and do what my parents were always more so like my grandma and my mom suggesting, why don't I go to school for like history, because that's always something I really like. And like, why don't I just try to become a teacher? I had some pretty cool teachers. One of them was like a gym teacher. Obviously, I didn't go to school for gym teaching. Being a gym teacher, I should say. But like, we just had like a cool bond. He didn't really like me at first, my freshman year. But like, I had some good teachers, and I'm like, I could do this. I kind of have an idea like what history was to me. And to me, It was like a lot of dates, facts, very streamlined, clear and concise. And then I was going to be a broad field social science with a history minor. So like that's psychology, sociology, um, economics, and political science, basically all kind of mumbled into one. And then with a history minor, so this would make you more employable, so you could teach other things. And then I would have to take some teaching classes in between. And like I had an okay start. Um, I found a professor I really liked. He would just go on like these huge rambles and just go on and on. Like if you didn't know any better, he did like cocaine before he came to every class and just went off. It was great. Very knowledgeable guy. So like I made sure like I took more classes with him. Um, I did pretty well for a while, and then I switched from a BS to a BA, Bachelor's of Science, to Bachelor's of Arts because I don't want to take more math classes because I hated math and I'm bad at math and I didn't care about math. So I took a year of German, which went meh. I mean, at first I put some effort into it, and then later on I was just like, oh, I have other classes I need to worry about. And my professor's really cool, and he's not a super hard grader. So I changed from a BS to a BA. And then for a while I wasn't feeling like still wasn't at the point where I could like declare for teaching and stuff like that. So I was getting kind of far behind. And then what did I do? I finally switched over to just a BA in history instead of like all the other stuff. And that's when like my grades started going up a lot. So like the last 3 semesters, I had a 3.41, a 3.33, and a 3.85. And then like because like I was taking just like pretty much strictly history classes and like all the teaching classes are like really easy from like what I understand. And then after I graduated, I had an idea of like, oh, maybe I don't want to just teach. Like I was gonna get the teacher certificate. I just wanted to be done.
What did you end up graduating with for your GPA? You
Uh,
said you started at like a 2.3.
it still wasn't great. It was 2.9, so not
That's not
great by
bad.
any means. But like, it's a big jump from like what I transferred with, and I did kind of struggle here and there. But like once I started taking just history classes for the most part, I did significantly better because I was a lot more interested, more invested. The generals and like even like psychology. Like psychology is a good field, I think, but like just wasn't for me. Um, so then I went through a brief phase where I'll just like go get my. I just wanted to be done with school, and then over the summer I talked to my parents when I was drunk. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go to school more again and see like maybe entertain the idea of becoming a professor. Not that it would happen, but you know, like cool idea, something to shoot for. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I talked to one of my professors a little bit. Another professor, I've like kind of like I don't want to say like fell in love with like the sense of like physically, you know, but like I just like her teaching style. She's straightforward, honest, and open. So then I took a master's class with her just to kind of see what it was like. And then she told me pretty much straight up, it's not worth your time, not worth your money. So here I am. I'm going to go get my teaching certificate soon. But I took a lot of like European history classes because I always thought that was more interesting for me. I did branch out and take, or I had to take some other classes too. So I had to take like a couple like Middle Eastern history classes, which focused heavily on like the Arabian Peninsula, like North Africa, and like Egypt, even though those aren't the Middle East. I'm using air quotes. I took a class on samurai imagery and stuff like that, which was fun. And I wish I would have taken something like that earlier, but just wasn't like super interested into it at the time. But like primarily like Western European stuff, like European history. And I took a philosophy class my last semester, which kicked my ass. But it was probably like one of the most worthwhile classes because I had to really like work hard for it, and I didn't do great in it. But like it was just like an eye-opening class, I guess. It made me think differently. So
Pros
yeah,
and cons for that whole show.
for everything.
If you had to,
Oh yeah,
for
yeah,
your,
that's right.
for your degree, like right now, what are the pros and cons of Marcus with the current degree versus pros and cons of Marcus without the degree you have?
Um, so if you go face value, a lot of people would tell you a degree in liberal arts related things, especially if it's not like if it's not included with like a teaching license, it's not worth a whole lot. But like me and Max have discussed this, and it's like how you can apply your degree to yourself. So like you have to be creative when marketing yourself because you do learn critical thinking skills, which is the most important thing. Any career, I would say, for like most people, but we learned it in a different way. We did it through like researching a particular subject you were writing about. Then you had to like compare and analyze different sources and kind of figure out what's the most logical thing or like what makes sense to you, and you had to like back it up and think of some plot holes with your thinking, stuff
So,
like that.
so you should be good at like book reports.
Yeah, I think book reports are really easy now. Like at first I really struggle with like writing. I'm still not like the best writer, but like my writing has
I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm gonna let people giggle at that when they get to it.
mhm, just has
That was one
skyrocketed.
of our first hate comments ever. Was that Marcus had a really shitty book report? Now he
Yeah,
just said he's really good at book reports.
yeah. So anyways,
I'm sorry, I can't not.
no, you're good. So I'm still bad at talking. I just need to like work on it, and by working on it, I just need to talk more. I think that's the best way to go about it.
It's almost like we have a podcast like that we
Yeah,
talk like long form.
yeah. But like my writing skills and like reading skills to an extent, and like what finding stuff what's important, what you're reading, like being able to highlight the important stuff has increased dramatically. Not only that, but like just as a person, I felt like I have grown. I've become more aware of like things and how the world works. I'm still incredibly naive, obviously, because I'm 24. I haven't really moved out of my state yet, so I don't really know other things, I guess, like other life experiences. But like I've just grown as a person. I've met some cool people. Keegan and Max are like one of them. Just like the experience was
There's
great.
two of us.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that's probably one of the important parts is just like the social aspect. But like, um, you just have to learn like how to market yourself and find out like what you're good at, I guess, and apply it. And like, although I don't have a business degree, I feel like I could try and make a case and argue with someone, and not like actually argue, but like make a comparative case of like why I could go into a business per se, um, and be effective there. I think I could. Doesn't mean I would be able to, but I think I could come up with some compelling arguments through what I have been taught through school.
That'd be
But
fun.
yeah, I'm not saying like it would happen, and I'm not gonna say like I could like argue my way into like what Keegan does. There's no way that would ever happen. But it's just like a thought I would like
I'm
to.
in a weird spot though.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's how I think about that. At face value, a history degree, people would probably say, well, why? But I think I've grown as a person. I think I can apply my skills I've learned through the trade. And like I said, I just want to get my teaching certificate because that's kind of what I want to do. I miss like being in a classroom. It's gonna suck like grading papers and like preparing for the class, but like actually going into class, presenting ideas and how it affects people and like events and everything, and just like history's not a date, it's more like ideas and how they're applied to things and what the how the events transpire through these ideas, stuff like that. That's how I would say it. Just like interacting with students and getting to know them and just making sure that they're on the right path for that. So and like that's kind of how I approach work, kind of, especially with like the younger, like with like the teenagers at Walmart. I kind of approach them that way and just like see if I can help them, but also at the same time, like there's a lot of stupid
It's
stuff.
Walmart.
Yeah, it's Walmart. Stupid shit happens all the time, and it just gets kind of annoying in the way. So yeah.
Hmm. That's an interesting question to ask people. Is like, hey, is your degree worth it? Like, would you do it again? Pros and cons. That's a good answer. I like it.
Yeah. The only thing I would say what I would have done differently is I would have picked a minor. I don't think the minors what I would be interested would be like applicable to Stephen's point. Like I think anthropology would be cool, and that would fit well with um, history because it's like it's basically how would I describe anthropology? It's like the study of like I don't want to say culture.
How far you can toss tiny bugs. Anthropology? Nothing. Nothing.
That's a good one. Well, yeah, like the study of like
You're
different
welcome. That's
cultures.
comedy genius.
Yes, just something like that, or maybe like if I was introduced to like philosophy earlier in school and not take a advanced level class for your first class ever. So, but yeah, that's the only thing I would have done differently. Do you have any
Hmm.
thoughts on reflection or like reflections on your school process or degree?
I really, I really.
Oh,
My Discord clicked for a sec. Give me
oh,
one sec.
okay.
Talk about timing. So if I was gonna do it again, I think. So when I came to point, I'm gonna mess with my tech. So when I came to point, was gonna pursue a degree in fisheries biology because I wanted to design fishing lures. And then I remembered a quote from one of my coaches. I just wrestled my last wrestling match ever, and I was sitting there, just sweating. It's in the back hallway, just kind of just giving myself 5 minutes before I go shower. I had wrestled for 13 years, and it ended. And my coach walked out, and he went, "You'd be an amazing coach if it wasn't a waste of who you are." And I hear that line probably 15, 20 times every day. And so I was like, oh, I want to design fishing lures. I want to chase my dream. I love fishing. So I got here, and my fishing courses were really easy, and everyone else wanted to fish way more than I wanted to fish. And I realized that I don't want to work outside for 20 hours a day for the rest of my life because I like having a back and joints that work. So I'm like, I'm a smart guy. I don't want to waste my potential. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be a doctor. I'll be a doctor. So I went to my advisor. They switched. So second semester, freshman year, I joined the pre-med major, which is a biochemistry degree with a pre-med kind of spin on it. So from there, I was taking max credits, biology and chemistry mixed in with generals, a good amount of physics. I took cellular biology, microbiology, molecular biology, anatomy, physiology, the whole 9 yards, all the way up through all the chemistry, a lot of statistics. And then I began tutoring, I think second semester, freshman year. Took one semester off in there, broke my leg in that semester, so that was good timing. But yeah, I I like to think that I kind of got everything that you can get out of a biochemistry degree here on Point. I ended up graduating with a 3.74 GPA, 3.75, which is the mark for like high honors. And I was looking at it, I'm like, what the heck? It's because I transferred credits from high school. So I got a B plus in high school Calc 1. And then because of that B plus my senior year of high school, I graduated with just honors instead of high honors. So those matter, kids, if anyone's listening. But yeah, I graduated with a year and a half of organic chemistry lab experience, a year and a half of independent microbiology experience, having written and received a grant, received an award for my speaking and the presentation on that. I dissected a body of a cadaver of a donor. Yeah.
I think I remember hearing about that, the cadaver, like briefly.
Yeah, it's an interesting it was an interesting course. So to get into it, you had to do exceptionally well in just human anatomy, and the human anatomy here is taught by one Dr. Lindsay Dresang, who is phenomenal. She's a great person, and she is fantastic at what she does. But she runs a hard class, so she is very open about it. She wants it to be when you walk out of that course, if you walked into med school, you'd be walking into an equivalent or easier course. So she's prepping people to go on to that next level, and she did a really good job. So I ended up doing really well in that course, doing enough to get. I asked and I was accepted to get into that. It's Survey of Human Dissection. It was a 2-credit course. We met once a week, once a week, I want to say. We wrote 3 papers. But we would come in for 3 hours and we would perform a dissection on. We had 3 cadavers. We had one that was considered a fresh cadaver in the primary stages, so we did skin removal, looked at joint capsules. Skin removal was a weird week or two, because it's like, oh, yeah, it's just a dead body, and you take the skin off of it, and you feel weird after you do that. Like you walk in there, and I remember the first day I was sitting there, and they're like, we gotta move the cadaver into the tank, and we kept them in alcohol. Sometimes they'll be kept in formaldehyde. They keep them in a couple of different options depending on the style. This was a wet dissection, so they were in alcohol. And so we were warned that don't drive immediately after, because all the fumes will make you high, as well as when you leave you're going to be greasy because the alcohol melts the fat in the layers of the skin, and then it like sublimates and it goes into the room and makes everything greasy. But yeah, that was the first time that they're like, yeah, that's what we're doing now, and you touch and move and handle a dead body, and it's pre-preserved, it's been prepared, but we put it into where it's going to be dissected. And so we had one in the initial stages, one in the middle stages where we're looking more at organ systems, vascularity of some of the deeper tissues, and then there was a nearly complete dissection as well. You're not supposed to name your dissections, your cadavers, but that one had the nickname of Red because the tank was old, and I believe that skull cap was kept, and I believe that when they first dissected it, it was supposed to have red hair. So it was the long form dissection, just kind of red. But that was nearly entirely dissected. All of the muscles were entirely clear. A lot of the fat, all of the connective tissues was removed, so you could articulate the fingers by moving the muscles of the arm. Yeah, that was interesting. But you walk into that first class and you go, I think I understand what's going to go on. And then you take the skin off of a dead body, and then you go, I didn't know what's going to go on. And every single day it was kind of walk in, and it's something new. At one point we opened a skull capsule. There's a lot of juice in there. That was off-putting. We removed a human heart, removed a brain. Yeah, I'm glad I did it, because I walked in there thinking I wanted to be a doctor, and I walked out knowing I didn't want to be. And I think that even though like this is supposed to be a medical experiment or experience, I think being able to get to that level and be like, I would rather do something else great with my life. So I'm currently pursuing that PhD in microbiology. But yeah, I would attribute that not as a negative reinforcement, but as just kind of a catalyst for a lot of introspective thought on what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And yeah.
So I have a question. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you've been around like dead animals and fish and bodies before. Like for me personally, it's just kind of like, it's dead, whatever. I like. It's not like I haven't quartered and like cut up and like gutted a deer and stuff like that. But like when you like first initially like saw the dead body and you started to like operate it, I'm gonna use the term operating for lack of a better term.
Sir, yeah.
Did it like really hit you like this person's a dead? This is like a dead person. Like this person was alive, and like did it just kind of like
Yeah.
hit you like holy shit? Because like
Yeah.
when you were just telling me about this, I was just thinking, oh yeah, like I would think that this would like really
Like,
set in and hit you deep. Like this is
right. It
mortality and
touches
like all
it.
this.
Yeah, exactly. So I worked up on Lake of the Woods. I filleted a lot of fish. So I thought I had this understanding of death where it's like we are meat. We all serve a purpose, and then once we die, we can still serve that purpose. And so you kind of think about like, oh, when I'm dead, I'd like to donate my body to science, get the last use out of me, and then throw me in the woods or whatever. But there's something much more profound when it's like, when it's the fish, you're like, oh, this is a fish. And you can set in it, but it's not you. But when you go in and you start manipulating something that, like, this could be you in 70 years. Like, this is just a normal, average person, but they just chose to donate their body to science. It's like, this could be me. And you hold a heart, and you can hold it in your two hands, and you can go, this is a human heart. This was sacred to this person, to a lot of important people in their lives. Like, this was the representation of love for this entire person. And then you can hold their brain in your two hands, and they're weirdly heavy, and you go, oh, this is the computer that made this person. This is all their thoughts, emotions, everything that ever happened to them, everything they smelled, all of their memories of their kids, their grandmas, and their grandkids. You're holding it in your hand, and it's a really profound thing. It's
not a thing to take lightly, basically.
No, like, you think you're gonna go in and kind of giggle because, like, in anatomy, it's like, oh, there's a penis on the board, haha, funny penis on the board joke. But when you're in there, it's like, it's just kind of somber. It's purely learning. There's not really a lot of chit chat. It's kind of, oh, you're working on that. Okay, I'm gonna go work on this, and it was interesting. I formed a lot of really tight bonds. I really got to, the people I took the course with, I got to be really great friends with, and it's a very strange thing. I think Dr. Driesing did a good job where she forced us to listen to music. She was like, what are we listening to today? It was like, we had to listen to stuff. We built a really big routine about cleaning, so that kind of got you didn't go from touching a dead body to the hallway. You got to go through that middle step where you had to clean, and then you had to do some writing at the end as part of an assignment, and then that kind of allowed you to decompress.
Yeah.
As well as, there's some pretty ridiculous things on the human body. Like, everyone's got them, and they're just kind of off-putting. Like, you can take, so I got long fingers. Marcus knows my hand. So you can take your longest finger, and you can push that straight into your knee capsule. Like, your knee is so much deeper. You have so much more fat on the back of your knee than you understand. Like, I spent 40 minutes removing, like, the love handles off of one of the donors. Because I'm like, where does it end? But it just doesn't. It just goes all the way in. Like, you could take it was probably 6 inches deep of just fat right there. And it wasn't like, he wasn't a fat guy. That's just where we store our fat. Like, your cheek, you have a fat pad in your face. And it's, like, thick. Like, it's like an inch or so thick. And Marcus is poking his face now. And it's like, but you don't feel it. It's like, that's just your face. But there's a fat pad there. And there's all these different things that you go, oh, I didn't realize this. My joke was always that, like, people are a lot more like onions than Shrek realized. Because when you start dissecting a person, you go, oh, that's a layer. And then that's a layer. And so there's, like, 15 layers. And they're all distinct, discrete layers. And I learned so much from that course. And it was really profound.
Okay.
But yeah, people got weird fat.
See, that's like something I wouldn't have thought about at all. Like I get small, thin layers of like fat in the face or like in the knees, but like the way you're describing it, that seems like a way more than like I would have ever thought about. Just like being in my face.
Like you could hold like the size of a grapefruit amount of fat.
That's substantial, yeah.
Like, but that's one love handle is probably a grapefruit. On like a 6-foot guy that's like probably 210 pounds, just normal sized guy. You probably got a grapefruit of fat right there. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an experience. I would recommend it if anyone does get the opportunity. If any young guys are listening to this, any young girls or guys, If you're ever like, oh, should I take this course? Should I work extra hard so I can maybe take that course? That's one thing I'll always recommend is always work a little harder so you can take that next course. Because I know Marcus ran into this too. When the higher you go up in academia, the more personal things get. So by the end, you're in a course with like 6 or 7 people working one-on-one with the professor. And then if you can find what that professor is really passionate about, even if it's not exactly what you want, just being able to get that deep into a topic is really interesting. It's like I didn't realize virology was as interesting as it was until I took that course again with Dr. Dresang. And there was, I think, 10 of us in the course, and we covered a lot of really interesting stuff. And then the pandemic hit in the middle of it, so we get to talk about the pandemic. But yeah.
Big sigh there.
Well, we're at about an hour, so I think that's about it. This was a fun episode.
Yeah.
It was nice, relaxing. It was much more discussion-y.
Yeah. Way more. Yeah. I wasn't thinking of anything like this when we came into it, but like, it was nice. I love this. It was better than I thought it was going to be too, because like I'm not exactly the most like talkative person. I would say, but like this was good.
Yeah, it's fun to mix it up.
Yeah.
We'll have to bother Max, so we had our best episode without him.
Oh yeah, big Reagan rights there, I guess.
Yeah, but I will end it. I'll say thank you so much for everyone that listened. Thanks for all the great support that we've been having. It's really fun to make these episodes, so the fact that anyone's listening to them, it's a huge, big thank you.
Yeah.
Please do comment, like, and subscribe if you think of anything for us to talk about, chat about, any questions, comments, concerns. Let them fly. We love to answer questions around here. So, yeah, Marcus, you got anything to wrap it up?
No, just thank you for your patience and like your, I mean, like you could be doing a lot of other things, but instead you're here listening to us, and it means a lot. I don't really think about it a whole lot, but like for someone just to like take a little bit of their time and just listen to what some dude has to say, or maybe like if you're a friend or something, just to listen to us. Like that's nice. Just have like a little casual fan base. So thank you for.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We hope you have a good night and a great week.